This week's episode of Inside Running Podcast is proudly sponsored by Nike. Marking the next chapter of Nike's relentless focus on innovating for all runners, the new Nike Alphafly 3 delivers marathon speed to push beyond what you thought possible. It's their lightest and most tested Alphafly ever, validated by elite marathoners and designed to help all athletes chase their personal best in the marathon, no matter their pace.
Welcome to episode number 333 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Got a big show to go through. We've got 2 Australian 10,000 metre records to talk about. Got some other news from all over the world, talking distance running, listener question, Moose on the Loose / purchase of the week it may be this week, and all the other things you're coming to expect on this podcast. Welcome to my co-host, is up in Canberra, freshly off the gym. Welcome to you, Croaks. How you going?
Good, Brady, yeah. 10k run this morning, followed by some gym, so motivation's high, shape not good. But
shape not good, motivation high though. That's what we need. As long as the motivation's high, you can get the shape to be good.
Correct, and body's in one piece.
That's good. Looking forward to hearing about your week. My other co-host is down in Anglesea, Julian Spence. Welcome to episode number 333.
Thank you, mate, for having me.
No worries at all. You're just back from the vet.
Yeah, well, I got a dog who's recovering from coming out of anaesthetic next to me. He got his nuts chopped off this morning, so castration. Hopefully settles him down a bit, but I don't think so. It was a bit of an ordeal. 50-kilo dog, trying to get a needle into him to put him out, and then trying to lug him round when he's a dead weight. It's not like his handles on him you can just pick him up with.
Hopefully he forgives you, Moose.
Yeah, he's a pretty sensitive dog. I reckon he might hold something against me for a little bit. Wonder if he notices. Wonder if he just licks down there tomorrow and he's like, hey, what's going on here? There was something here yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Didn't think we'd be talking about that in the first 90 seconds of the show, but here we are. What have you been doing, Moose? How's Anglesea? How's his shape?
Anglesea's pretty busy. It was good weekend here weather-wise, and people still coming down the coast from Melbourne, Geelong, wherever. So, yeah, pretty busy in town. Shape, not too bad, actually. Got some decent running in last week. Had Monday off, and then I ran an hour a day, every day, except for Sunday, where I ran 90 minutes. So it was good. But then I got a real sore back yesterday, Arvo, for some reason. So I'm just seeing how I go today. And then I'll decide whether I run later today or not. Yeah.
And back to workouts?
I did a workout on Friday morning with Toby, so that was fun. Good to jump in with the bad boy, the angry boy, isn't he? Listen to the monthly, full of anger.
I told you, they just let it just build up throughout the month and then just come out firing. Swearing, not good.
Very frustrated. You know, it sounds like a bloke who hasn't enjoyed a lady for a while. That's the impression that I was getting.
You can't say that, surely.
This guy is frustrated for a specific reason, I reckon.
Isn't there some sexual tension there?
Yeah, he just needs to chill out a bit. I mean, you're living on the coast, the sun's out. I took him surfing on Monday. He'd been talking in the store to the guys, and Bree was talking to him and said, oh, you do a bit of surfing, do you? So he was like, yeah. What do you mean do surfing, though? Like, it's pretty easy, isn't it? And Bree's like, oh, what do you mean easy? I thought it was pretty hard. And he's like, nah, what is there to it? All you do is stand up. And so I said, oh, this is good. I'll take him down to the surf on Monday. We had a day off. It was pretty good swell. And fuck me, I laughed so hard. This bloke, talk about a fish out of water. Toby in the water. He was hilarious. He was shitting bricks. he was getting pounded by the waves. He's got this like learning board, and he was in over his depth. Credit to him, he had a crack, but I don't think he's going to tell everyone how easy surfing is from now on.
Yeah, sorted him out.
It was pretty funny. There's something about seeing people in like positions that you don't want to be in that I find hilarious. Like if you're watching in a race, like someone who goes out too hard or is going up a hard hill in the middle of a race and you're on the sideline, I enjoy seeing that because I know exactly how they're feeling. I've been there before. You know it'll be over pretty soon, but at that particular moment, they are hating life. And I saw that a few times.
That was me and Craig Appleby watching Moose go up the hills at Bundoora last year, Croaks.
Oh, you were behind him, were you?
Behind him, watching him go up there. Just thinking we're not going to see this bloke on the second lap. He's going to find it hard.
Oh, all right. All right. Still a spot down at Great Ocean Road open for you this year.
Ballarat Marathon, mate. I'm committed to Ballarat.
Go find a flat one then.
Yeah, no hills. I ran hills yesterday, actually. You'd be impressed with me.
You went down to that hill, Luke, that you do?
No, I went to Bendigo. Extra half an hour down the road.
Run
Hills
with the bats down there.
Andy was out of town at Run for the Kids, so I thought I'd pop down, keep an eye on him.
Get a bit more kudos with him out of town.
Yeah, 100%. Not sure if the kids know who I am, though, all those 18, 19-year-olds.
Are you going to make Div 1 this year, you reckon?
Me?
Make the Premier
I
team?
don't know. It's going to be touch and go. 6 people, hopefully. Maybe just scraping.
Yeah, well, Andy will be away anyway for you.
Did you get that email today about your fees?
I don't think I did, actually. They might have gone straight to you. A bit of a test email.
Test email, yeah.
Let me look here. I got it here.
I'd have to start picking up a few extra days at school.
Pricing. Here it says, with athletics membership declining by 19% since 2016 and AV's on-paper value declining by 63%, calls for a critical review of where AV channels its finite hours and resources to ensure we have maximum impact for effort and best meet the needs of today's market.
Okay. What's that mean? Give me a summary of what that means.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Maybe they're cutting out the amount of things they put on and perhaps putting more effort into the races they do. Perhaps that will be it.
Okay, maybe. Let's talk about some weekly recaps then. You want to take us away, Croaks? What do you got?
Yep, I can do that. So Monday I went for a run, so it was a public holiday. I think my first run back was maybe on the Saturday, and it was pretty good. Like, I don't think I felt any pain on that one. And then on Monday I did 45 minutes, 4:21s. It was pretty good. I reckon there was maybe a 1 out of 10 pain, or just some tightness or awareness, but I was pretty happy to get through that. I actually felt really good. Like, although my shape's not good, the fact that, like, I haven't done a lot for 5 weeks probably, but I've done enough running in that time that it doesn't feel like I've had 5 weeks off, if that makes sense. Like, if I'd sat on the couch for 5 weeks and not run at all, these runs would feel terrible. But I've done just enough for it to still feel okay. So got through that, went to the gym later that morning, so I spent about an hour there. And then Tuesday afternoon, I went out to the track to just coach. I was going to maybe do the warm-up with the group, but it was pretty hot and I wanted to run on Wednesday morning. And I thought, because I was trying to manage the load, I thought if I run for like 30 minutes at 6:30 or 6 o'clock on Tuesday night and then want to get out on Wednesday morning, it's a pretty short turnaround, and I wanted to run 45 minutes or whatever on the Wednesday. So I didn't run Tuesday. Went out on Wednesday morning, 46 minutes, 4:23s, felt good. I reckon it was probably even better than it was on the Monday. So that gave me a lot of confidence. Then took Thursday off, went out on Friday, did an hour and completely pain-free. Actually threw in like a solid last K, like 3:44 K pace. And from this point on, I'm like, okay, my hips good now. So yeah, that was 14K on the Friday. Went to the gym that afternoon. And then Saturday, because I did a bit longer on the Friday, I just did 30 odd minutes, 4:20s, and then wanted to get through some sort of long run. I thought if I can do sort of 80 minutes, that would be pretty good. So we're out at Mulligan's, had a really good group actually. I think there was 8 of us. So like Jack and Rob, who I coach, and then we had Cam Myers and Connor Whiteley and Leanne Pompiani and her partner Aaron. So that was fun. So I did, 19K at 4:14s, and actually felt pretty fit actually, and no pain at all. So it was a week of 61K or almost 62. So things are on the up, and although I've missed 5 weeks, I feel like I've managed the injury pretty well. So I feel like it's all good now.
Do you go like fanboy around Cam Myers when you're jogging together?
No, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to run with a guy. And it's actually, as we were finishing off the run, we were sort of almost back to the car, and Kerry Saxby was on a bike heading out, and I said, "Morning, Kerry." And then I said to Cam, "Do you know who that is?" And he's like, "Nah." I'm like, "Oh, it's Kerry Saxby. She's got like a street named after it, the AIS." And I said, 30 years time, there'll be, you'll be hobbling out here, and someone will say, "You know who that is? It's Cam Myers." So, but yeah, no, it was good fun morning.
Uncle Croaks.
Oh, I tell you what, I do feel old when I'm running with a lot of those younger guys.
Yeah. You are old. It's part and parcel of being old, feeling old.
Yeah.
How did you go with a 17-year-old?
It was okay. Like, he's actually pretty mature, and Connor would be like mid-20s. So definitely, like, they want to sort of talk about other things, but they're mature enough to, talk about grown-up stuff. But you can sort of sense that, especially because most of my long runs are with most of my runs are with the people that I coach, and they're sort of not as old as me, but like often, full-time jobs, have families, that sort of thing. So when you start there running with like 17, 18-year-olds, you sort of notice the difference a little bit. But it was good. Like, the run went pretty quick.
What are 3 topics you'd go with, Moose? You're next to a couple of 17-year-olds. You've got 3 topics to try and make a bit of a connection with them. What would you go with?
17 or 18? Because I reckon you get in trouble with 17-year-olds.
No, I don't mean like inappropriate stuff. Like, just how do you make a connection with these guys?
How do you make a connection?
What topics?
You get them talking about their races for sure. Get them talking about their last race. Everyone likes to talk about their race. They're runners, remember? Especially if they've won. If they've won the race, then we're onto a good thing there. So that'll probably take up half the run. Then you might be able to talk about any part-time jobs they got, because that'll be new, and you can sort of learn about what the job market's like for just out of school kid.
Yeah. Except that doesn't really apply to Cam.
No.
Cam's on a Nike contract.
It's not stacking shelves at IGA.
All right, that's good. Number 3, shoes. Everyone likes to talk about shoes, even kids.
Good news.
True.
So I ticked a few of those off actually. So I had not part-time job, but just like, what he plans on studying like next year, or if he plans on studying. And then shoes, I asked him what he thought of the Alphafly 3s compared to like the 1s and 2s. Yeah. But he's like type of runner, I guess, 1,500 metre guys, and probably not making the most out of Alphafly 3s. Mm-hmm. What else do we talk about? I guess race schedule coming up, and asked him whether it was Team Kerr or Team Jakob.
Oh, yeah.
What did you say? Good.
He was Team Jakob.
Okay.
Yeah, Nike boys, both Nike.
He said that Ingebrigtsen's always nice to everyone on the circuit. So, yeah, and he thought Kerr was a bit
cocky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Good.
Yeah. And what did you talk about, like Pokemon cards and stuff for the next half of the run?
You're telling me we actually had then we spoke about, because obviously the 10Ks were coming up that day. Like what was Jack going to run? What was Holly and Lauren going to run?
Call of Duty. They'd be into Call of Duty, those kids, wouldn't they? They'd be sitting at home with their headsets on. Anyway,
I don't know.
Let's move on. Good week from you. Back into it this week. 80K this week?
Still a few, look at doing a couple of light sessions, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, here we go. You locked in for anything? I was trying to get some stuff out of you today in the message group, but you wouldn't give me much.
No, I need to string together some training.
Email gone to Gold Coast yet, though? Putting your hand up at a pacing gig? No, not yet.
I guess because, I was told I could run more the week that my hip started to flare up. So, I want to sort of just string together a few weeks around that 120K, or build up to that and then string together a few weeks and then decide.
Yep. and you'll fire it through. Moose, what have you been doing?
I sort of gave you my week. I ran an hour a day from Tuesday to Saturday. Monday took the day off because I was a bit sore from surfing. And then Tuesday, an hour in the morning. Wednesday, hour in the morning. I'm getting a few hills in on these runs too. I went down and ran an hour while Ali and Kieran did a workout around the river. They did some hill repeats and a couple of threshold intervals. And then I did a workout with Toby on Friday morning. So I just jogged the warm-up, and then he was going to run 4 lots of 5 minutes, 5 to 10 beats below thresh, 5 beats at thresh. So it was like a yo-yo, so up, down, sort of shuttle type workout. And I was going to do half of it with him, so 2 by 5 minutes under, 5 minutes at. But I wasn't going off my heart rate, I just ran with him to his effort. So I did that. We started, it's hard to know, it was my first harder running back. The under, I was 329. The on was 322. Then the under was 336, and the on was 321, which is probably about right for me anyway. Heart rate probably got up to about threshold, and then it did recover on the offs as well. So it felt good. I ran in the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4, which is a new release from those guys, and it's not a massive, crazy, super duper shoe, we'll call them, which is like the oversized Alpha Rebellion type super shoes. It's a little bit more normal feeling. It's not quite as rocketed, doesn't feel as spongy, and so I'm going to spend a bit more time in those shoes going forward. And it felt really good. Toby wasn't great. His hit was pretty bad. I could tell early on. He didn't say anything, but when you're running next to someone, you know when they can't generate the power that they normally generate, because if you go up a small rise, all of a sudden you hear their breathing start labouring, and then they drop back a slight amount, and you start basically wondering what's wrong. Like, he couldn't get his heart rate up high enough because he couldn't generate enough power to get it there, because his hit was no good. So he dropped me off at 20 minutes. Well, I stopped, and he did, I think he did like 3 minutes maybe of the next rep, or maybe he did the full rep. I'm not sure, but I caught up to him and we just jogged back. He was no good. Not a great run from him. He's going to take some time off now. If you listen to the monthly, he was on a good run for a bit, and now he's on a bad run. This hip thing, there's no answers for him. It's the hardest thing to have an injury but not know what it is, and go to physios and doctors and not get any answers from them.
Still goes to show, though, Moose, that it's very rare that you can run through consistent pain and it just come good. Like, it's generally a sign. Like, I had the same sort of conversation with Leanne a bit yesterday. Like, her hamstring's still quite sore, and she just puts up with it because obviously she's trying to make the Olympics. But it's like hoping it gets better, but it's probably not going to get better unless you rest it.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter what it is that's causing the pain. The fact is you have the pain.
Yeah, so and the pain's a sign that something's not right, and the body's saying, hey, you need to stop doing what you're doing because it's hurting me. Yeah,
and running 30K a week jogging is different to running 120, 130K a week with workouts and hills.
Yeah.
So there's different levels of running through something. Like, sometimes it is good to keep jogging on a particular injury, but jogging is not training hard. So he's got another doctor's appointment this week, and hopefully there's another method to investigate what's wrong, or there's another pathway they can go down. But yeah, frustrating for him, and running back to his house after he's got that injury, he's bailed out of the workout. You're like, pretty you can feel the frustration, not really having it.
Yeah, well, he's had a rough trot, he moved from Ballarat, to be part of down there, the Surf Coast Track Club, and really hasn't done a lot. He hasn't been able to run really since he's been down there.
Nah, he actually gets fit pretty quick. Even coming back from the stressy that he had mid-year when he did so much cycling, he's actually got fit again, and he gets fit really quick. There's still so much potential there. he's going to have a good run one day, and he's going to run some big times, but it's not going to be. It's going to have to be a pretty slow build up next time round.
On a serious note, Moose, because there's not many of you down there, and you've all kind of had a little like niggly kind of injuries. Do you reckon you've run too many hills? Or have you sat down and been like, like Ali had the one to miss Valencia, Toby's missed a bit, you had the hammy, Gunther had a hip too, didn't he?
Gunther had a hip, yeah, but he doesn't run the hills like we do. Yeah. Okay. I think perhaps we do. I think there's a chance that we do too many hills. Especially Toby, he had the aerobic fitness to run over them pretty quick, but I'm just not sure it's good for his body to run over them quick. So there's a real difference in load. Like if you're going at 4:10 pace over a hilly course, so your heart rate's at 135, and you can, and on paper you're like, that's fine, I'm not going too hard. But if you run that course at 445, 450, there's so much less load going through the hips, and you're not having to generate as much force. And I just think it would be much easier on the body with very minimal consequence to fitness. So that's one thing we're going to do when we get back. When he gets back, he's going to spend more time jogging slower and reducing the amount of hills that he does do.
It all seemed to go pear-shaped when he was like still in Ballarat, but doing that sort of double. Remember you wanted to try things, and you started doing those double workout days.
Yeah,
and I think his mileage may have increased a little bit at the same time. Do you put anything like he hasn't really had a consistent run since then?
Well, he had an answer to that. Like he had a stressy, so like it was easy to go, all right, you got this stressy. Let's actually was that the. It's hard to. He's had 2 hip injuries. I'm trying to work out whether that first one he actually had the answers for or not. But yeah, he didn't need to do that. He wanted to try something different, and it probably was a little overboard. Not sure whether that's still contributing to his issues now. I'm trying to think perhaps back then when he did come good, because he came down. He got really fit again, and he was doing workouts. I think he ran 8:04 or something. So he did come back.
Yeah, but ran a good 5K too, and run for the kids all around that like March, April.
Yeah,
last year,
he did.
Wasn't it?
That's right. It was about a year ago. And then he ran Gradation. It was Gradation Road.
That's right. Yeah.
Did. Yeah. And he had that little. I think he had a little niggle going in, or he's felt it a little bit, and then that was the catalyst for all of this. Gradation Road on the terrible day, 44K, 45K. He was cooked out there, and he still pushed through really hard. He absolutely buried himself.
Trying to live up to his coach, hey? Trying to match what his coach did at Gradation Road.
Mate, I ran 4 I won 4 of them in 3rd gear. He barely won 1 in 8th gear.
I need to catch up on the monthly now. We've just spoken about Toby Mendo for 10 minutes, analysed his training, his injury history, and what he's doing right and wrong.
Sub him out, get someone else in.
Yeah, all right.
That was Friday. Ran an hour, or a bit more actually, with the group, hour 5 on Saturday, just through some trails. Got a course record. That's nice. It's very rare I'm getting course records these days. So that's a bit of a treat. And then Sunday morning went 90 minutes. Felt good. What I was in town, telling me about his latest scam on healthcare funds. That was enjoyable.
I can see Watto on a current affair in a few years.
Yeah. He'd be on there like actually scamming someone. He'd be using a current affair to get some sort of credit or something. I don't know. We ran pretty hard, 4:08. That was decent for me. Fitness, I'm pretty sure if you look, heart rate 144. So I was working on this one, no doubt. Wasn't quite fit enough to run that pace, but was happy I did. Had a good group. Got pretty warm towards the end. And then, hurt my back on. It was sort of sore going into that. Then afterwards, I'm like, oh, gee, got a bit of a tightness. Went surfing, didn't help it. And then in the afternoon, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty cooked now. I've got to lie down. Then I'm not too bad today. I'm going to probably go for a jog after.
Okay, loosen it up a bit.
I think it was about 68K or something, or maybe 78.
It's hard to know because it's got 90K for the week, but there's all this surfing in there. So you got to take out 3.3K for surfing there.
Does that measure come up in your weekly totals?
Yeah, it does. Yep.
It's stupid, isn't it?
That kills your blue bars.
Why would Strava do that? That seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it does. So it's only 3.5K or so off that. So it's 87.
Yeah, good. 87's pretty good for me this week. Hopefully, I can match that next week.
It's good from you. Whistle through this week, fellas. A lot of slow jogging for my week, but I got some good mileage in. Monday, 16K and strides, 4:36 average, and then 35 minutes on the treadmill in the afternoon. Found the iPad, which was good, boys. Back sleeping in the main house. So that was a good find, being able to put my hands back on that iPad that didn't belong to me. Tuesday, I did 6x2K off 500 metres. I'm calling it a jog, kind of like 4:05 kind of pace maybe in between. It was a bit quicker in the first one, and then I figured out I have to back it off a bit to make sure I can hit these reps. I was working on goal marathon pace for the 2Kers. All up was 14.5K at 3:25. Pretty hot, I reckon, too. I reckon I did that with no singlet on, gun to tape, because it was pretty warm morning. And then 38 minutes. Not sure why 38 minutes on the treadmill that afternoon. Was probably watching something and was just waiting for it to finish.
Can I just ask,
yes.
If you wake up and check, what do you got, a weather gauge at your house? Temperature thermometer somewhere?
Just Google it.
Google it. What's the threshold for if you're putting a singlet on or not?
A lot higher than what it is for you, because I've seen you run in the last couple of months and I have not seen you wear a singlet once other than at Osaka. I'd probably, if it's just an easy jog, I'd have a singlet on at least for the first half if it's like 30 plus. And then,
really? Just for sun protection or for what?
It's just something about, I don't know, like I still get a bit self-conscious of just getting the rig out. Maybe because I'm in a small community and people know who I am too. So, like, if I'm just running through, like, back streets of Moama and there's a mum from school dropping her kid at school, they don't want to be looking at their skinny teacher.
That's the reason to get it out.
No,
if I see that coming, I'm taking it off.
So if I'm out in the bush and stuff and I know I'm not going to see anyone, I'll whip the singlet off for the second half if it's starting to get a bit sweaty. But for workouts... You're not happy with the setup, with the rig at the moment? Happy with the rig. I just don't think everyone would be happy with the rig and want to check it out. That's the thing.
Why? Like, it's pretty normal. Have you seen fashion these days?
I wouldn't say 57 kilo rigs are that normal with blokes looking around, to be honest.
So you are a bit self-conscious?
Yeah, as I said, that was the reason why. I get a bit self-conscious about getting the rig out. So,
do you think people will talk about your body shape or something?
I don't know. We're getting deep here.
Well, on that, Moose, my guess philosophy on this has changed a little bit. I was always happy to run with my shirt off most of the time, but now that I'm a dad and I want to like be around, I'm very much more like sun smart or more aware of it. Like in terms of hats, like even like I've run once or twice in like a bucket hat, which I'm just like I've never done that in my life, and it's just more like I think as I'm getting older, like it's all compounding now. So like I definitely notice a few more like spots on my face, and I'm like, hey, I want to be around for my kids, and so like I'll even wear like rather than a singlet, I'll actually wear like a short sleeve shirt on a warmer day just for some extra protection, and some long sleeve shirts. Like I think I may have. Oh, no, I didn't wear a long sleeve yesterday, but yeah, like it's changed as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
There is that sense of like, I don't know, back in the day, I'm not talking that many years ago, but like if you were to pull your shirt off, you were a bit of like the flog of the group as well. A bit of the like, look at me, this guy's pretty vain. Yeah. When I grew up in Bendigo, it was very much like, yeah, look at this flog, he's got his singlet off while the rest of us have still got it on.
Nah, down here it's a bit different to that.
But you don't think of the skin cancer stuff, Moose?
I definitely appreciate that's why you'd wear it. But I'm running when the UV's 1 or 2 at 7 a.m. Like the sun's barely come up. It's very different running at 9 or 10 when UV's out and can do you damage. So that's what I was interested in because it's a pure temperature thing. 7 a.m. If it's over 17, I'm not wearing a t-shirt because it doesn't offer me anything. Sun protection doesn't matter. UV's too low, and I'm in the bush. I wouldn't care if I was going around town either, except if I was out of shape. Then I'd probably care a bit more. Then there's also like carrying it. Like you take it off halfway. I don't want to carry it. I don't want to tuck it in.
I just tuck it in your shorts. That's not an issue.
Yeah, I don't like that. It's a bit awkward. And then I'm like, oh, then you got to wash it afterwards.
Yeah, so this was 19 degrees this morning when I started.
Yeah, you're going to sweat into that
pretty
into
hot,
that shirt.
And it would have only got hotter. That was at 7:15.
Do you do the washing at your house, the laundry?
Yeah, my running gear gets separated, and I look after that usually. Apart from the hats, I don't put the hats through the washing machine because I notice they split, so I do them separately, hand wash them.
Okay. Well, imagine having half the amount of washing.
Yeah, but to be honest, like you just chuck it in and then you just hang it on the line. Like if you got 5 singlets or 2 singlets, it's not making a huge difference, and it probably takes you an extra 18 seconds to hang that up. This is coming from a guy. I bet you don't do your own washing as well.
No, that's why I'm thinking of my wife.
Remember when you took him to the supermarket at Bathurst Croaks and he couldn't believe all the yogurt flavours? Because he'd never been to the supermarket before. Does Brady did it?
Yeah. Bullshit. Yeah. That is a lie.
Well, this comes in vanilla. I thought it was only blueberry.
That is such a lie.
And Croaks told that story. I wasn't even there, but I just heard about it. I'm just thinking of Brady looking after her. Well, in the Arvo, treadmill. Wednesday, I got out for 2 hours, 4:49 average. I was pretty sore, a bit of DOMS, but I just accepted it and thought, I just wanted 2 hours easy on my feet, try to get some mileage, get that midweek long run out. I was sore and I accepted it, and I'm just like, I'm not going to push this today. I just want to be standing up and running for 2 hours, but 4:49 paces are very, very easy there. Thursday, 14k at 4:44s in the morning, 35 minutes in the treadmill in the Arvo, and then Friday, talking about the sun, fellas, I'm not sure if you guys realise, because you might sleep in a bit more than I do, but the sun's not coming up until like 7 a.m. at the moment. You notice that? Pretty dark in the mornings.
I've noticed that, yep.
Yeah, and I've got to be home to get ready for work at 7:30, so I kind of warm up, but it means I've kind of got a 25, 30-minute window to kind of get my workout and cool down done before I have to be home. So I just did like 2 minutes on, 1 minute jog times 7, which gets me 20 minutes. Was kind of working at 3:04 pace for the 2 minutes and then just jogging for the 1 minute. Not a bad bang for your buck workout. Nothing crazy. Pretty easy workout, to be honest. But that was all right. Then got out for 9k after work, 4:39 pace. Did easy 16k in the morning and 40-minute double in the Arvo Saturday. And then Sunday up at 5 in the car at 5:20 to drive to Bendigo. Yeah, met up with a group there. A couple of us older boys jogged a couple of laps of the lake before they start at 7 o'clock. And we got back to the starting spot at like 7:01, 7:02. And they fully leave. Doesn't matter who you are, they are going. So we kind of had to fang the first couple of Ks to catch up to the group.
Are you suggesting that doesn't matter who you are, as in doesn't matter if it's you or not?
Doesn't matter if you've got 2 stall sashes, mate, they're still going.
I like that, though.
I love it.
I like the punctuality.
Yeah. So these guys probably didn't even know we were there because we were out jogging around the lake. So, they were good. Some young kids there because, as I said, Andy was out of town. I did the first 15k, and then Steve and Crammers were both doing a workout. They're getting ready for Ballarat as well. So they dropped down from the hills at probably like 13k, and then hit this kind of flat section at 15k, and they did 2x5k at around about 3:30 pace with 5k jog between. And then
2:27 boys, are they?
They were doing it at half marathon effort because when they were going,
5k at half marathon.
Yeah, I don't know.
2 of them.
Yeah, I don't know who. And they were in heavies. I'm like,
that's a pretty hard session. I know. Like just with like a warm up and cool down.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
not sure about that.
And I'm like, you boys changing shoes? They're like, no, we're not changing shoes. I'm like, this is great going. And they both looked super comfortable. Like, I think Steve was wearing Triumphs and Crammers was in Super Blast. And they were, getting this done. So, coming off, I think they probably did 350 metres maybe of climbing in that first 15k on like pretty shitty trails and stuff as well. So, then they had a car there and I jogged back to where our cars initially were. So I got like 34k in for the morning, which was good. What kind of shoes would you wear for that, Moose? I was a bit stumped.
If I wasn't changing
Couldn't
shoes?
change, yeah. So the car's probably like, I don't know, 5K away from where the workout was getting done. So what you committed to at the start, that's what you were wearing.
What was the rest of the long run like?
Or that kind of like a rocky bushland, a tiny bit of road, probably like 6 or 7K road. But that time you ran in Bendigo after 5K frenzy, similar to that, like kind of like a rock hopping.
Superblast probably the shoe, I reckon. Oh, I've got this shoe called the Ultrafly from Nike. It's a trail shoe with a plate in it, but it would struggle at that pay. Yeah, tough one. I'd probably wear the Superblast and just deal with the rocky stuff.
Well, I chucked on the RC Elite 2. You know that purple one? New Balance?
What, for the entire run?
Yeah, I was just like...
That's no good for the rocks.
I know, yeah. It was good for the road workout later on, though.
Yeah.
So I was just like struggled on the rocks. Some of the boys were giving me a bit of shit for that and up the hills. But yeah, once we got to the road, it felt a lot better at the back end of the workout. So hit 181K for the week. Pretty tired. I think it'll be a couple of weeks until I see a bit of fitness because I need a string. Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 weeks of just consistent higher mileage together and then hopefully tap that new kind of little base on the top of the big base from Osaka, and we could be going all right.
How are you finding it mentally to, like, you obviously had a marathon block and then only a couple of weeks down and then back up to 180. Like, mentally, is it a bit of a chore? That
was the exact reason why I was in Bendigo, Croaks, because I was going to do like 2.5 hours solo, and then I'm just like Archie wasn't sure what time he was jogging, and I'm like, nah, I just want to be with like Crammers and Steve, like they're good blokes, good for conversation. I knew all I had to do was get out of the car then and my long run would be done for me. So yeah, I'm going to try to buddy up, even if they're doing different stuff than me. I'm going to try to get in with different people to get that company, to get over that. But I'm also playing it in my head that it's 6 weeks, so it really means like 5 weeks of a long run and a workout. So it's like I've got to get out of bed for 10 important things. Everything else is just pretty easy jogging, which I don't mind getting out of bed for.
So I think that's probably the hardest thing about doubling up in such a short period of time. It's like physically it's okay, but you know how much time and effort goes into a marathon block, and then you're back into another one, and then by the time you get to race day, you're like, I'm just over this.
What worries me the most is how up and about I am for Ballarat Marathon. Like, it's still, because it's its first year, it still very much feels like I'm going to Ballarat 15K, but it's just 42K. Like, I'm not super excited for it compared to like getting on a plane, going overseas. There's 20,000 people in the same race. Like, I've got to tap into something a bit closer to the race that's going to get me up and about.
Yeah, I mean, it's more clinical, isn't it? And sometimes it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think it could be a good
to
thing.
Be clinical. Yeah, if you treat it like a workout. Yeah. Because you get the workout done every single Sunday, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. So AV races, like, it's pretty good at just fronting up for them every second or third week, and you kind of get the job done. So, yeah, it mightn't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll go from there. Shall we thank some Patreon supporters? Who you got, Croaks?
I got Matthew Davies. So did a bit of digging. I think Matt's from the UK. He's currently living in Toronto. And according to his Power of 10 profile, his PB is a 17:17 for 5K, which he did at the Dulwich Park Run, 35:50 at the 2020 Run Dorney 10K, 77 minutes at the Farnborough Winter Half Marathon, and 2:47 for the marathon, which he has run at London, Amsterdam, and Dusseldorf. They run 2:47 at all 3 of those marathons, and I believe his club is Reading.
Good.
So thanks for your support, Matthew.
Some good consistency there of his marathoning.
I got Samuel Kenny, or Sam Kenny. He ran 17:36 at the Surf Coast Track Club 5K, which was held in early Jan, was it? Early Jan?
Yep.
He was in the second 5K or the first even. I can't fully remember, but he came second in a sprint finish down the line. So Ed was a guy who works at the Geelong store, and he outkicked him, and a couple of blokes absolutely charging down the final straight. May well have undercooked the rest of the race because they had a lot in the tank coming down the last 100, just like arms and legs going everywhere. And good to see. Good watch that. He ran 37:14 at the 2023 Melbourne Half 10K. Got a best half marathon time of 84 minutes, which came during Gradation Road Half. and his marathon PB is 2:54 from recent Tokyo Marathon. Gee, they got good weather that day.
They did.
See that? Yeah, see that. He spent the whole race in t-shirt and arm warmers though, so pretty cold. He also ran New York Marathon last year in 3:01. He works for Lulu, I reckon Sam does.
He does.
And he's also a very loyal Run Strong online coaching athlete, coached by Toby Mende.
There we go. 18th mention of Toby tonight. Creative designer and marketing manager, I reckon, at Lululemon. Big dog in
so
there.
He puts the ads together and stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Not exactly sure. Sometimes with those LinkedIn titles, not exactly sure what that involves, but that's what it says on his profile.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know what all those titles mean. Confusing stuff.
It is, but I'm sure he's good at whatever it is he does. I'm going to thank Lauren Ma Allen. She's from Sippy Downs. Where's Sippy Downs, Croaks?
It's on the Sunshine Coast.
Okay. She's a regular at the Brightwater Park Run with a best time of 2018, and she ran 41.50 at last year's Gold Coast 10K and has a best half marathon of 91 minutes from the 2023 Sunshine Coast half. She was on the podium at the Townsville Half Marathon in 2021, where she finished second and appears to be a North Queensland Cowboys fan. That's good, Croaks, the Cowboys. They're up and about, aren't they? They're a good club, better than the Canberra Raiders.
Going well. Don't know, the Raiders are 2 from 2.
Didn't someone do some freaky try yesterday? They were talking about it on the radio this morning.
Yeah, down in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Melbourne Storm.
Best try they've ever seen or something.
Xavier Coates, yeah, it was pretty good. His whole body was out the sideline and he just managed to have his hand inside and place the ball inside the field of play. It's pretty good.
Yeah, cool. Got to look that up. Thanks to all our Patreon supporters who keep the show alive each and every week. You can find more details about how to support us at patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. Got a whole lot of early stuff teed up to go out. We're just waiting on a few things to be signed off on. So we've got Shoe Geeks. That's been recorded, Moose, and ready to go.
Ready to go, yep.
A couple of little interviews as well coming out the next couple of weeks. I'm still working on this train and talk / coaching little mini series before we launch Road to Gold Coast, which is also coming out soon. So if you like what we do, that's where you can help us out and support us and keep the show alive, which was, it's been happening for 333 consecutive weeks, which we're extremely grateful for our Patreon supporters keeping us there. Let's go running news, Croaks. You were all over this yesterday, the Sound Running 10K. No live stream. I think there may have been one on Flow Track, but you were just checking the splits. The lap splits were coming through every lap.
Yes, I found the Sound Running website, and then when you go into the results, it has live tracking, and it sort of updates it's actually really good. It updates every 400 meters, and it also gives you their average pace for the whole race. So it's pretty easy to sort of calculate what pace they're on. And the women's 10K was first, and we were chatting about it on the long run, and I thought Lauren Ryan was either going to have an absolute blinder or a shocker and potentially a DNF. Just based on she'd broken 15 minutes for 5K recently, indoors. I think she ran 14:57. She was super impressive at Zatopek last year. She seems to be on the up since heading back to the US and training with that Under Armour squad. And so, early on, you're she's on sub 31 minute pace here. She's going to be the second fastest Aussie of all time. And then I thought at one point she sort of dropped off and it was more 30:45 to 30:50, and I'm she's still going to be second fastest Aussie, but she's not going to get the qualifying time of 30:40. And then, the results popped up. She closed in 67 second last 400 to finish third overall. And that was both these fields, men's and women's, were really stacked. So for her to finish third overall in 30:35, which took couple of seconds off Benita Willis's national record, which she set at the World Champs back in 2003. Phenomenal run. We also had Holly Campbell, who ran a really big PB. She finished 16th in 31:44. The race was won by Sigi Gebrselassie in 29:48. Wiene Kaladi was second in 30:33. So big things coming up, she's already done big things, but I can't wait to see what happens for the rest of the season. And what's really exciting is we now have a representative in the 10K at the Olympics guaranteed.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Oh, surprising. 90, was it 96 second personal best? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Probably
Yeah.
hasn't run a lot of track 10Ks. We saw her at Zatopek like winning a slower race, but I don't know. It would have been a brave person to come out last week and say, I reckon that Lauren Ryan's going to break Benita's record. Knowing that how good Benita was and how far that record was, quicker than the likes of like, Rose, Ali, Sinead. Who else is in that top 5 all time?
I think
Eloise.
Lisa Ondieki as well.
Yeah, so you're throwing around like the greatest of all time kind of women there. So to go out and do that was, phenomenal and good on her. Don't hear much about her. Like, she's obviously embraced that US scene and, she got the American accent and doing all those kind of things. So I was quite shocked, probably, to be honest. And what's Benita got left now? Because obviously Sinead got the marathon one. She still got the half? Or was that Karen?
I think Karen McCann's got the half.
Yeah, Karen McCann. Jess has taken the 5, the 3.
Yeah. No, I don't think Yeah.
Is there a road 10K maybe?
Yeah, I'll look that up while you're talking.
Yeah,
what do you
potentially.
think?
Pardon?
What did you think when you saw this come through?
She's been showing signs lately. She's been competing really well, and she's putting some times on the board. Like Zatopek win, then she ran a pretty fast 3K. Then she ran a 14:57 indoors. So we were starting to see some things coming through that suggested she's at a level that she's never been at. And I thought Zatopek was pretty impressive. Like she won it even doing it the hard way to a degree, like doing a few different things throughout the race that wouldn't be that economical for her. And so that suggested that when she got in the race that was basically like a train, then she would be able to run faster. And she has, but I would not have expected it to be this fast. I would have maybe expected perhaps like 45 to a minute off this. Like that would have been like my guess that she would run. So this is pretty incredible, becoming the Valencia of the 10K world sound running. Mm-hmm. Like it's a really nice spot to go by all accounts, and I think there's multiple heats as well, so you can get different pace groups going, and it is exciting to see someone who's in a training group in the US, like she's in the Under Armour group, and they're in Baltimore, so somewhere that I think they're in Baltimore.
They are. Yeah, it's the Baltimore squad. Yeah.
Yeah, so like really different pathway to what we've sort of seen before. Baltimore is not altitude or anything. It's like a city. And whatever they're doing there is working for her training-wise. And Under Armour, we don't see Under Armour in Australia really. Like they don't have any sort of running cred here because I think they just sell a few lower-level shoes at Rebel Sport. But they're obviously doing a lot over in the US. And whatever she's got on her feet is working for her at the moment.
That was one of the first things I looked at with the pictures, just to see what like spike she's in. And they're Under Armours.
Yeah, no, I think they've been a few people have seen them and they're looking pretty good.
Well, like Adam Fogg is Under Armour as well, and like he's killing it as well.
Good shorter stuff in good spots.
So that time puts her 69th all time.
Okay.
There's only been 68 people ever run faster than Lauren over the 10K.
How about the winner being like, what is it, 45 seconds in front?
Yeah, it's a big gap, isn't it?
That's huge. That is in a 10K. When did she go, Croaks? Was she going from the gun?
Not sure. I'd have to go back through and look at the splits. I wasn't really paying too much attention to the top. I was more just looking at the Aussies.
But that's a bizarre result. 45 seconds in a 10K when you're on, like, you must be you've just run that the whole way by yourself.
Well, it shows there's still like a few different tiers of ability on the world stage. Like we're talking about 30, 35 here. It's like incredible run, but distance running on the world stage has moved on, and so like the top girls are now running 29 flat. So you've still got, it's probably like Lauren's probably like that third tier. You've got the real top echelon at that 29 low, Then you've got a few around like mid to high 29s, and then the next group are around that 30 to mid 30s.
Yeah.
Benita does have a 10K road, 31:17, Manchester, 2006. And she's got like some, 20K road, 25K, 30K road.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't too many left out there,
road.
though, back then.
2K track.
Records are made to be broken, Moose.
Wouldn't have just got the 2K track on her way to breaking the 3K record. But maybe it's not certified. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't have a clock at 2K. I don't know. But yes, to answer your question, most of the big ones have gone.
Move on to the men's. So we had Jack Rayner in this one. We were meant to have Morgan McDonald, but I believe he picked up a little bit of a niggle. Is that correct, Brady? That was
my
info?
news. Yep.
Yeah. And so the race was won. And so obviously this was set up to try and get as many people under the Olympic standard, which was 27 flat. There ended up being 8 runners that did it, 7 or 8, I can't remember. I sent it through our group. Grant Fisher got the win, 26:52.04. Nico Young, he was second, 26:52.7, and Andreas Almgren from Sweden was third in 26:52.8. So pretty close amongst those 3 guys. Like Nico Young, what about the last couple of weeks he's had? Does the double at NCAA indoors in the 3 and 5, and then backs up a week later and runs 26:52. Jack finished 13th and was like super consistent. I reckon he pretty much even splitted the whole race, because I did see the video that Christian sent through to us, and I saw when they went through 5K, I reckon it was pretty much what would have been like 13:33, 34, something like that for Jack, and then he's pretty much maintained that for the second half. So he ran 27:09.57. Which broke his own Aussie record, which previously it was 27:15, I believe. So not quite the Olympic standard, but hopefully that gives him a few more ranking points and maybe puts him inside the quota.
And as we talk on the Monday, he is not listed on the ranking points, but we're thinking that's going to get updated soon.
Yeah, so it's interesting in that they updated the Road to Paris website with the people that ran the standard yesterday. So if you just bear with me, I think there's now 15 men, and this is like 3,
27
narrowing
spots.
Narrowing it down to 3 per country. Yeah, there's 27 spots, and qualified by standard now is 16. So 16 of the 27 spots are gone. And that's updated after yesterday's and the weekend's results, because there was a couple of people like Chapter guy ran the time on the road. But then I don't think the people who ran fast, but they ran outside the time, I don't think their points have been updated on this website yet. So hopefully that happens soon, because I'm guessing his 2 times I'm guessing the sound running from last year would be in the period. And also this one. So those are his 2, I'm guessing. So
I'm not sure the 10K opens up that far out.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, because I have
some of the cross-country results are here, though, from that far out.
Oh, yeah?
So there's 16 guys who got the time, and then 17th through to 24 are in through cross-country rankings.
Mm.
And then for everyone else is just via world ranking quota. It's really weird. So like these cross-country results. Yeah.
So looking at Kai, so Kai's 2 10Ks with 31st of March 2023 was at Stanford Invitational. So like Jack was not much before that.
Yeah, so this guy in 25th, the Japanese guy, Ren Tozawa, he has last year's the 10, the same race that Jack's just done. He ran 27:28, and then he's got the Japanese 10,000 metre championships where he ran 27:22.
Okay, so in that case, because Jack hasn't had a second 10K, so once they update it, he'll have last year's sound running 10 and this year's 1, and that'll be interesting to see where he sort of sits. I'm actually sitting down with...
I reckon he'll get 1,200 points for around about both of them.
Yeah, we actually, and then if you look at the rank, that puts him in the top
19,
that puts
20.
him in the 1920, 1,200.
So he knocks a couple of cross-country guys out.
Yeah, I was going to say he might get a few extra points because of like if it has some sort of status, but I'm not sure whether finishing 13th, you probably don't get any additional points for finishing 13th.
Yeah.
anyway, it'll be updated, and I'm interviewing Jack on Wednesday.
Yeah, so we'll be able to hear straight from the horse's mouth there.
Yep.
Is he flying home, or are you doing it? Is he in America when you're doing that?
No, I think he's back by then.
Okay, so yeah, hopefully that site's updated by then. But yeah, huge day for Australian distance running, both those records. You feel for Jack a bit, don't you? Like, you can celebrate breaking the Australian record, but you still don't cement the spot for the Olympics. Like, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, it is. But that was always the thing with this qualifier. You needed to break the Australian record to get it.
Yeah. But you had to beat it by a bit, which you did, but then you still didn't get it, yeah.
No, and it's super rough. And this cross-country bullshit, like this pisses me off that they've found some secondary way to try to increase a few cross-country participants in some shit races in Europe, and they've taken up spots in the Olympics away from like genuine competitors who would have normally been there.
100%.
That's a terrible thing.
I'll ask Jack what he thinks of that.
Well, some of these guys, like the guy who's sitting in about 16th, 17th spot at the moment, like he's got 3 cross-country results. And I know it's different, like European cross-country, some of their meets over there, but I don't know any of these cross. It's not like they're significant. It's not like it's, hey, you come 5th at world cross-country, so we're going to put him high up in the rankings.
So they have this whole cross-country series now, and
they're still
they have like gold.
They
have like gold label status, and it's like this all happens around sort of November, December, January, and so we never reported on this podcast. You'll often see it on World Athletics on their website of this person won this cross-country race, but it's so like I don't know skewed towards people that live in the Northern Hemisphere. It's like it's unrealistic for an Aussie to just go and fly into all of these cross-country races every few weeks. Like,
Yeah, so this France guy, his PB is 27:47.
Yeah, and running 10K on the track is completely different to 10K cross-country.
Yeah. Remember, we were talking to someone about it. Was it Caitlin Adams? No, it was Leanne Pompiani. She's just like, unless you go do those races it's hard to hit the time. You're going to struggle.
The good thing is, I think Jack, with his 2 10Ks, are like, pretty rough. You run 27:15 and you run 27:09 and you don't make the Olympics. But I think he will be well inside the quota, and it's just a matter now of and the good thing for Jack is there's not that many fast 10K races in the world anymore. But if you can find one more, but I also think Jack will probably qualify for the 5K because. What's the standard, like 13:05, and he's run 13:06, so I think he'll do that.
We know he's in shape, don't we?
Yeah, but the problem is with the 5Ks, we probably have a bit more depth in the 5 because you got Stewie if he wants to do it, you got Kai, you got probably Morgan, who knows, like Matt Ramsden could potentially get down there as well. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting few months during this qualification period.
Taking a Melbourne run for the kids happened yesterday. Not sure if anyone knows what distance this race actually is. Moose, do you know?
14 point something.
14.3 I saw, 14.6, 13.9. Not sure. Everyone's GPSs.
You saw that on GPS.
This is all just through the tunnel, yeah. So, and I'm not sure if they even advertise. I think they just call it long course, short course. Doesn't matter anyway. I like that. It's a fun run to raise some money for kids at the Royal Children's Hospital, but some big names rocked up there. Andy Buchanan got the win, 42.28. Liam Adams second, 42.47. Andre Waring third, 43 flat. I was talking to Andy before. He reckons he was 20 seconds down at 10K in third, and then pulled Andre in past the Botanical Gardens, and he got Liam maybe a K after that, then put a bit of time into him. He said the longer the race went, the better he felt. So good signs for Andy Buchanan leading into Hamburg Marathon in 6 weeks' time.
That was a good run.
2:08 out of the question, boys. He's got to find a couple of minutes off his PB, but the boy sounds like he's in shape.
He's out of the question. I'm sorry, Andy. I don't think you can run 2:08. Not based off this. It's a limited build-up.
Yeah, he's coming off that injury. Talking about Liam, though, had a look at him on the rankings today, Crow, because he's 69th out of 80. I think he's going to be safe. I don't think he needs to go to Hamburg.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
not many races to come. Remember 6 months ago we were talking about Seville, Osaka, all these races. Most of them have happened. Valencia. You got London.
Yeah, they have. There's also Rotterdam to come.
Yeah. But
I suppose a lot of the
11 new country people to top him off, though.
Well, that's it. A lot of the big dog countries will have already qualified their 3.
Yeah.
And so it's only for countries that only have 0 to 2 qualified.
Like Australia.
Yeah. So
New
you can be
Zealand.
right there. Charlotte Wilson won the women's 51.47. Chi Air was second in 52.27. And Madeline Gwen was third in 52.31. Heard of Charlotte before, Athletics Essendon legend down there, but hadn't heard of Chair and Madeline before, so not sure what their story is, but good to see some new names on the podium. Women's probably not as strong as the men's field.
Yeah. Milers was one of the nights. I missed this, boys.
No stream moose. They didn't
get behind this one.
They didn't have one because there was nothing to watch.
Oh, really?
That's why you missed it. Yeah, I think so. That's what the boys were saying yesterday on the long
Stop
run.
beating yourself up, Moose.
Yeah.
It's okay. They didn't have a stream.
I was wondering how I missed it. Normally I like getting behind it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't on.
Was there a reason why there wasn't a stream?
I'm not 100% sure. Just heard.
Do you know what? A stream makes it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's one thing. Like for us, we put Surf Coast meet on 5K. Oh, I just think that it's just so good for your event, for people coming next year as well. Just for someone to get to watch it and go, oh, I really like to do this next year. I'm watching it now. They can see their mates run, and it provides some entertainment, brings a bit of sort of spotlight to grassroots running. I reckon there's almost work it into the budget of a race, a stream, because it's as important as anything.
What also breaks down that intimidation factor, like we're seeing road races sell out, but people still, I think, would be afraid to go to the track for a local 5K, 10K. But when you see it and you go, oh, look at those people getting around. That's not like Kathy Freeman on the athletics track. That's just some people that look like me.
100%. That's Surf Coast. We've got that as well. We've got seated races. There's like a minimum thing. I think you've got to run the 5K in 25 or 30 minutes. But that's pretty generous, really. So there was an 800 and a 15. In the men's 8, we had Mitchell Langborne won in 151.76, and Sarah Billings won the women's 202.32. Pretty high standard women's race, because we had Georgia Griffiths second in 202.84. So pretty solid out there in wherever they were.
I think there was decent prize money on for either running the Olympic standard or breaking the milers records for both the 8 and the 15. And I believe Sarah Billings just missed Abby Caldwell's record.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Interesting. So bad luck to Sarah. Didn't miss out on the cash. In the 1500, I wonder if this got cashed up. Seth O'Donnell, he definitely didn't break the record, 347.18. And Lyndon Hall, 405. That would have been close, getting down there, a 405 at a milers meet. That's solid.
Yeah, I don't think it got the record, though. I believe she was paced by Kat Bissett, training partner.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a pretty good solo run if it's 405, because I doubt there'd be other women behind her.
No, second and third were a long way back.
The milers?
Does Abby have that record as well, Crux?
I'm not sure. Not sure who has it. I did see Len Johnson wrote an article for Runners Tribe about the milers meet.
Okay, so, looking forward to reading that one.
Do you have a whisper for us? Seth O'Donnell changed training groups. Brady?
Left Mentone, been training with Melbourne Track Club, yeah. I think that's pretty well documented a few months ago, isn't it? He's always in all the photos and stuff, running around the grass track there at Waverley.
I haven't seen it. It was news to me anyway.
Oh, it was MTC, not the On Development Group?
I thought it was in MTC.
Okay.
Wonder who he's running for this winter, if he's not running for Mentone. Good cross-country runner, Moose.
Cats.
Maybe give him a call, get the Geelong Cats off the bottom.
Yeah, he does love cross-country.
Yeah.
He could play a bit of music for you, Moose, in the team bus.
Get the drums out. He's good at that.
We'd have to do a bit of a long trip round, I reckon, to collect him, though.
Just meet him at the race.
Yeah, warm up, get the speaker out in the warm-up tent.
You want to take us quick fire with these state champs, Croaks? I'm going to look up that Vic Milers Club record.
Yeah, so a lot of states had their state champs on the weekends. I know New South Wales, Queensland, and I think South Australia as well. So just going like who won the men's and women's 8s and 15s for these. So New South Wales champs, Mason Cohen got the win in the men's 800, 147.87, and Jayla Hancock Cameron won the women's in 205. In the 1500, I did actually watch these on the live stream on Saturday night. So Tom March, he came from the clouds in the last 100, won in 348.28. I think the top three were separated by like 0.4 of a second or something. And Georgia Wingcup won by about the straight, I think, 419. So that was a solo run there. Queensland champs, Ethan Forbes won the men's 800, 153, and Leah Simpson won the women's in 208. Seth Mahoney won the men's 15, 348.57, and Leah Simpson, she did a double, running 419. In the South Australian champs, Dylan Stenson, he got the win in the 800, 152, and Victoria Cholsh, she won the women's in 207. Dylan got the double, winning the 1500 as well in 346.66, and Zoe Tolan won the women's 15 in 424.
Correct. Just looking at this, Lyndon Hall, it says this is her World Athletics profile that she ran 405.41. And on Vic Miles Clubs, it says the record was held by Abby Caldwell, 405.36. I reckon she's got that Vic Miles Club record, $1,000.
Well, what'd you say? No, didn't you say? You said she ran 405 point high.
Four?
Yeah, and Abby Caldwell ran 405.3.
Oh, yeah, hang on, I'm looking at her.
Oh,
Gonna have to cut that out, boys. Gonna have to cut that out.
The math man. The
that
math
ain't
man
getting
from last
cut out.
week.
She's just missed it.
Wouldn't dare cut that out.
500ths of a second.
Oh, Brady.
That confused me too when you said that. I thought,
Didn't it? Yeah. I looked at it.
Because I think that was the whole idea of Len's article, was that both of them missed like the times by such a small amount.
So I reckon next week you're going to have to put these notes in the agenda so we don't have to look through and make mistakes like that, Bradley. You're letting me down.
Mate, stop making
405.3, 405.4. Jeez, it was close, ladies and gents. This is what live.
3 is lower than 5, Brady. Did you teach that to your primary school kids?
I don't teach on Thursday, Friday, Croaks. Monday I do podcast and stuff, so I don't switch on the maths brain. Anyway, what else we got to talk about today?
Listener question.
Listener question? Yeah, go for that.
All right, so it appears all three of you are back in the gym. What exercises do you do, and how many reps and sets of them?
Yeah, it is a good question. You see different runners do different things in the gym. There's a few different schools of thought on it. Most of the elites, they look like they're pretty well versed, and they're very skilled at gym stuff because they've had strength and conditioning coaches teach them how to do it properly. So they'll like be doing these complicated exercises, and they'll often be linking exercises together. Like they might do some hopping and jumping, and they might do weights, but instead of just lifting the weight, then they also like step up onto something. So it's a bit intimidating, I reckon, when you watch some of those videos on YouTube or Instagram to go, oh, geez, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't really try to do that stuff in the gym. I stick to some real basic exercises. I don't really progress them too much because I don't have the capacity to. Like I'm not in the gym enough to focus on it. So for me, I'll get down the gym, I'll do some warm up with some banded crab walks, and I'll do a few variations of that just to warm up, and it's mainly glutes that I'm hitting there. And then I'll do one of the big strength exercises for me. It'll either be a what do you call those? Trap bar deadlift, or it will be a squat. And then I'll do a set of 3 or 4 things, different exercises, and I'll just do like that. I'll go through a round of those exercises 3 or 4 times. So I might, like as an example, if I was going down later, maybe I do trap bar deadlift, and then I do some heaves, some chin-ups, and then I might do some single leg Bulgarian split squats. And that sounds difficult, but it's real simple. And then I might jump on the Pilates reformer and do a core exercise. And so that could be my 4 exercises. And then I'll generally do another round where I might do hamstring bridges. I'll do some Parloff press, some core stuff. I might do some donkey kicks on the Pilates, reformer, and I'll do some standing calf raises in the Smith machine. And I can't really do too much more than that just from time constraints. So I'll get in there and I'll punch those out, almost have a slightly aerobic element, like I'll roll through them. By the time I leave, I'll be sweating a fair bit, but that works for me.
How many reps do you do of like your deadlifts?
So I used to do 8 or 10, and then it started to wear me down a bit, and so now I go back to 5 or 6. And as I got closer to the marathon, I dropped the amount of reps I was doing. But if I was going to start back in the gym, I would do more of them now, because I'm not too worried about the effect it has on my running.
Yeah, I do 8. But if I start getting wobbly, I'll cut them back to 6.
What sort of weight you lifting on a deadlift?
Oh, when I start, I just start with a bar. No, not the deadlift. With the back squat, I start with a bar. Deadlift, I start with 5 kilos both sides, but I'm not sure what's a bar weigh. Like 20 kilos?
Yeah.
15, something like that. Yeah, I start and then I build it up. I think I build it up to like 10 on both sides. I don't go very heavy.
So 20, so like 40 kilos.
Yeah, but that's not like max. Like I think I could do not way more. I think I could do more if I had to. But what's the one where you put your 1 foot behind you, like on a I don't know,
Bulgarian split squat?
Yeah, and you go down with one leg with the weights in your hands.
Yeah, Bulgarian split squat with dumbbells.
Yeah, that's the one I find the hardest. Like that's the one I reckon I cut the most from 8 back to 6 because I just start like getting super wobbly and want to make sure my technique's good.
How much weight do you have on that?
No, not much. Like maybe 7 kilos both ends.
Yeah, you want, because it's single leg, like that's where it's more about like control than it is about like speed or even weight. I think you're better off starting light with the single leg stuff so you can get good control through your hips and core and
Yeah, you know if you're doing it wrong because it's like if you're just all over the shop.
So what else do you do, Brady?
I do box jumps and I jump up and then jump down on the other side. What else do I do? I think I have about 4 in the... Yeah, so I do deadlifts, back squats, box jumps, and the Bulgarian split squat, and then I just rotate that through.
Yeah, okay.
As a cycle, 8 each, 3 cycles.
Yeah.
Twice a week. What about you?
So what I'm doing at the moment, I do generally 3 sets of 10 at the moment. So I think what I'll do is once I get like comfortable with that, I'll probably go a bit heavier and then cut the reps down because I feel like I'm doing it more for maintaining some strength or gaining some strength. So I think I'm better off going a little bit heavier and sort of less reps, but I don't want to go straight into that because I haven't been doing gym for a while. But I start generally with the hip thrust machine. So that's just purely like glutes. So I do 3 sets of 10 there. Then I'll go over to like the leg press machine. So I do a lot of the real basic machine stuff just so I can really isolate the particular muscles. Like, it's probably not great for like stabilizers, but I'm just there to try and lift some decent weight. So hip thrust, and then I go to leg press, 3 sets of 10. And then I do some like running arms, like with dumbbells. So that's probably like the only upper body sort of exercise I do, but it also just gives my legs a bit of a rest after those first 2. Then I'll do the trap bar deadlift. And so I have like 15 on each side and the trap bar I think is 22. And I found like I did start to go a little bit heavier, but I find with that exercise, because there's a little bit more technique involved, as soon as I go a little bit too heavy, I do notice that I start to use my lower back too much. So for that one, I'm definitely just keeping it on the lighter side so that I can really feel my glutes and hamstrings working as opposed to my lower back. I then do hamstring curl and then the Bulgarian split squats with like 12.5 kilo dumbbells each side. And then, just some, calf raises in the machine and then a little bit of core to finish. So that's about an hour.
What's the weight on the machine when you guys are doing the calf raises? What do you call the machine, Moose?
Smith machine.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a machine as such. It's like a bar that's connected, and it's got a what do you call it? Like it's on like a counterbalance sort of thing. So it's the bar's stuck in rails, so you can go up and down without having to stabilize it. Means you can target. You can isolate areas a lot better. So I put on. It's the same as what I squat pretty much. I think I think there's about 25 on each side.
Yeah.
Maybe. Might be mayoing up that a little bit, but that's what we do here.
Probably best, though, to go in your local gym and explain your situation if you're a runner and stuff and get someone to show you these things.
For sure.
Give you an assessment.
Yep.
Don't just listen to what we've said.
Yeah, well, like I'm not an expert.
Oh,
I'm pretty much just doing stuff that's very much leg based and probably the safe options. You know, like hamstring curls, leg press machine, the hip thrust machine. It's all pretty safe. And I feel like I can isolate the muscles that I want. Whereas what you were saying before, Moose, about the top athletes, they do a lot of stuff that also incorporates a lot of core stability. And like I couldn't do that because like I would be working the wrong muscles because I'm not strong enough to do some of that stuff. Whereas, I'm strong enough to be able to, and it's safe just to do like leg press, hamstring curls, that sort of thing.
It probably means though that you should work on the lights, like do those exercises really light to build that.
True, yeah. And like really looking at it, like the only thing that really, I suppose from a technique point of view is probably the deadlift and the Bulgarian split squats are the ones where I really try and focus on technique. The other ones are more about just lifting the weight. And yeah.
Good question though. Good chat about it. Want some whispers, fellas?
Yes.
How good was last week? Did you see last week? Monday, I told you about that Peyton Craig signed that big deal of on. Sitting at work Thursday, check my emails, get the official media release. We got it early. Then
I reckon that was an easy one.
There was something already out. There was something already out though, Brady.
It wasn't out. Did you see that official media release? I sent it through to you. And then I get a message off the guy measuring the course at Albert Park 10K to make it certified. Saying, I don't know how you got that information, but I'm coming over next week to certify the course. You're correct. Just need the Ali Hamburg one to come through, and I got a perfect whisper case from last week. Have I told you about these, what are those lights called? Pace lights. Did I tell you about those coming to Box Hill?
Wave lights.
Wave light
technology,
this Thursday night, Box Hill Burn, they're going to be there. Not much of a rumour whisper kind of thing, but it's a bit something newsworthy.
Wonder how much that cost?
Yeah, I was talking about it with the boys yesterday on the long run. Like, do you reckon you can just get like one just set up on the night? Like you put them around the rail and then they connect to some, you put data in and then push play? Or would they permanently be there?
It would be it would be expensive if you're only going to use them twice a year, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think they're permanently there, are they, Brady? I think they just put them in.
I reckon, would the big tracks have them permanently installed?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like a cheaper version than the.
If it's removable, AV should buy them.
That's where our conversation went. Box Hill should be now. They can lease them to AV or Athletics Australia. Yeah, if they've bought them, then they can say, "Hey, you need something for the Murray plant meet? We've got the wave lights for you."
Like it makes such a difference. Like you look at the sound running. And like as I said, I was watching the splits come in, and they are just so consistent. And then you watch the video, and it's because they've got the lights right there, just to be able to like maintain that consistent pace. So it makes sense.
Just keep an eye out.
The purists probably don't like it.
Well, it's definitely one reason why the records are going. There's a few things, but that's got to have a big like input. Pacing is no longer an issue.
It's just one of the things, like shoes that are improving times.
Training
a lot
methods.
Of things.
Yeah.
They're
all adding up.
Just one factor, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. You get a good pacer out there, who's like one of the top, the top dogs in terms of how robotic they are. Like metronomic, it's probably better than a light pacer because you've got someone in front of you to follow. You don't really have to look beside you.
Yeah, well, this just makes every pacer like that now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, that would be a hard job to get that right on the track. You're dealing with, tenths of seconds per lap to get it spot on. And now you just got to stay next to the lights. So keep an eye out for that on, what's that, Thursday night, Stewie?
Thursday night, yeah. Stewie having a crack at the 1K Aussie record.
1K record, yeah, that's what I'm hearing. That's what the wave
Andrew
put out.
Just had the start list here, actually. Andrew Korskarin is also having a run.
He's back, is he?
Yeah, looks like it.
That's odd that he'd go home and then he'd come back.
Yeah. Let me have a look.
Who else is there?
Yeah, Ireland. Yep. Who else is here? They're Paul Robinson.
He ran pretty well in that 1500 the other week too.
Yeah, they're probably the three standouts, I'd say.
Any 800 metre boys? Not Pete Bolger.
There's a guy from Japan, Ryoji Tadaziwa.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, Moose. What do you got for purchase of the week? Moose on the loose.
Oh, well, it's not a moose on the loose, but it may be just an update on the state of affairs in marathon pricing. So we know that the industry is booming. Races are selling out. River Run, just as an example, in Geelong, we got River Run selling out. We got Melbourne Marathon selling out. We had Great Ocean Road selling out. Gold Coast sold out, and so now we're looking at the upcoming races. Ballarat, is it going to sell out or not? I know a lot of people are doing it. Geelong Half nearly sold out. Probably will sell out by the time the race comes around. I think there's only 180 spots left or something. But is this a time for races to start taking advantage of the athletes and cashing in? That's the question, because my wife, she put in an application for the lottery to New York City Marathon. And this is a funny way to put it, but she was lucky enough to get drawn out in that ballot, and she got an entry to New York City Marathon. Now, I got a bit of a shock when I checked the bank balance later that day, and I'm like, what's this $492 come out for? And she said, that's the entry to New York Marathon. $492 to run a marathon. That's unheard of. That's an Ironman type pricing scheme. Like, what's it cost to run Melbourne? $200? $150? Something like that? Let me check Great Ocean Road for you, and I'll get back to you.
What's Ballarat? Because I've got to put an entry in for that.
Oh, yeah. All right. Perfect. Ballarat Marathon. Now, we know...
Yeah, but you can't compare Ballarat Marathon to New York Marathon.
I get it. But
and the US dollar, isn't the Australian dollar struggling as well?
Yes. Got to factor that in too,
That
Moose,
would take into account.
Yeah, it's probably, be just over... You're almost doubling it, It's what, 65, 66 US cents you're getting for an Aussie dollar.
You literally have a segment how you waste money all the time on this podcast, and now you're going Bree after...
$75, Ballarat.
How much?
$175. You know how many people in New York get to do it? Like 50,000 or something. You don't reckon that at $500 each, you're making some bank over there?
But it's more like 250. It's probably like 250 US, Moose.
Yeah.
Streets in New York might cost a bit more to shut than Ballarat too.
That's why it's expensive for us, because as soon as you start converting it into US dollars,
it's the same, mate. It's value. It doesn't mean that just if I go and spend $1 million rupiah, I'm not going like, oh wow, that's so expensive because it's $1 million rupiah.
So Moose, what was Bree's response when you started going for putting $500 on the credit card for New York Marathon?
Said you better fucking run it. Like, we're not letting another one of these go to waste.
I want to know what her response was when you're talking to her like this. How did that go down?
Oh, well, she's just starting to plan her trip, or she's starting to book her bloody 5-star hotels in, isn't she?
Yeah, did she start rattling off all the shit that you've bought that's just sitting in the corner now, collecting dust?
Nah, it's all value. She uses all my stuff.
He's literally just listed all these gym activities that he does at home too, Croaks. He's not going to the gym to use those machines.
I wish I could...
shared between both of us.
I wish I could remember some of the real obscure stuff that he bought.
Well, how much that dog cost you? That would have cost you more than $500.
Yeah, protection dog. They're not cheap.
Yeah. the fake fence, the electric fence.
Oh, I've used that though.
The snake
Do you know
catching
what?
one.
Had a fox in the yard last night, and its baby, and then the dog alerted us to us. That's good work. Money well spent there. Said, "Oi, Dad, come here, there's a fox." And so I came out, shone the light down, saw a fox. And without that, I didn't let him down there. But the other night, he chased a kangaroo through our yard, but he stopped at the fence. How good's that?
Yeah.
Money well spent.
Mightn't chase anything now that he's lost his nuts.
Well, that'd be nice.
Once in a lifetime opportunity, though, Moose. New York City.
I know. I'm not saying...
fork out that.
I'm saying go do this, Bree. It'll be fun. But... I'm just saying, that's a lot. the Ironmans these days, they make it feel like you're privileged and you're so lucky to be able to give them $1,000 for doing an Ironman or something. Now, this is what the world of marathoning is going to go into. Because what Ironman did is that they saw the triathlon boom and they took advantage. It's like, I guess it's supply and demand, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why Valencia is such good. Valencia is such good value for money. If you get in early, because it's like that tiered system where it's like I think the first 5 or 10,000 entries are like €80, which like that's pretty reasonable for an event like Valencia.
Yeah, but supply and demand, it's not going to be like that for much longer. That's going to go up.
It's just how it be now. How it be.
Have you thought more about planning out races further ahead? Because I'm sitting here going, like, I'm going to the Gold Coast. I haven't entered. Everything's sold out. I've got to start, like, wriggling in some emails or doing a pace job. Like, it's going to get harder and harder. Like, I wonder if there's allocation still for, like, sub-elites.
Media entry for you.
Media.
You'd still be right. You'd still be right, Brady, like, your time from last year would get you an elite start.
Yeah, in the marathon. I don't know about the half, though.
Oh, yeah.
Sub 222, they give you $650 if you're sub 222. It's pretty good from Gold Coast.
Just
I like
show
that.
up.
Go do another marathon.
Well, that might be the only way to get up there, Croaks.
When you over 222?
Nah, I ran 220 at Gold Coast last year, which will count. I was well over 222 at Osaka, yeah. Probably should have been thinking about that the last couple of Ks, Moose. That's what you've got to start doing, don't you? Like, if you DNF one, or if you have a bad run, it affects you for the next 12 months because you don't have a time to get into the next one.
Should have thought about that at 19K.
You should have really dug deep for the last half. So that's planning. It's all about that. Good on Bree for that, I reckon. Looking forward to following her build up there.
Are you going over with the Moose?
Oh, this is a long... No, we haven't discussed this stuff. That's expensive.
Have you discussed this Paris trip with her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
How'd that go down?
Said I'll bring you a bottle of Bombay gin from duty free on the way home.
More of that.
Happy up.
We'll talk about that in a few weeks' time, I reckon. What's coming up, Croaks? Box Hill Burn, Sydney Track Classic, this big 3K women's race, isn't it? Hull, Davies, Izzybat Doyle, Gregson, Lyndon Hall. Australian Championship up for grabs, and some good ranking points because the 3K counts for the 5K. So someone like Izzy and Rose who don't have the time but got close to it, this would come in very handy, a nice fast race.
Very true. I haven't seen the start list for the men's. I know Cam Myers is running the 3. I'm guessing Stewie's not if he's doing the 1K on Thursday.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a rust buster. Don't know.
I'm guessing Jack's not.
Jack won't be. What about your Canberra boys, like Jai and Rory?
Jai's trying to get I spoke to him on Tuesday. He said that he didn't enter in time, so they weren't sure whether they were going to let him race or not.
Oh.
But yeah,
I know you got to have rules, but you can bend them at times, can't you? For an Australian Olympian, Australian champion over 1,500 metres up there last time he raced.
Yes, I'm not sure. I think we'll have to wait and see.
All right, we're done, fellas. What are you doing between now and next week, Croaks?
Did
you buy that house?
No, we went to an auction on Saturday, but we didn't bid because we decided we liked another one more. So that house got passed in, and so we're going to go to another auction this Saturday and probably bid for that one.
Put the hand up, all in this Saturday.
Yeah.
We should live stream or something to the Inside Running account.
No, let's not do that.
My dad was listening to the show and he was asking about you yesterday if you bought the house.
Yeah, but yeah, we're pretty keen on this one on Saturday. Outside of that, interviewing Jack Wednesday, which I guess the listeners probably won't get for a couple of weeks. Yeah,
we're working with Nike for the next couple of episodes, so we've kind of got to record them early, and then they'll be coming out staggered. So Sinead's coming this week, which I had to do a couple of weeks ago. So we did talk about some stuff about Nagoya pace, and she was getting ready to go to Japan to do that, which we obviously know the result of that, but there's still some good insights from Sinead there. So massive thanks to Nike for supporting the Inside Running podcast. Moose, what are you doing between now and next week?
This Saturday I'm presenting at a conference called Run to the Top. Sports Medicine Australia are putting it on, so I'm going to be talking about, I'm making a slideshow at the moment. That's what you blokes have dragged me away from. trends, considerations, and super shoes in the running world at the moment. So I'm going to be presenting there. It's in Melbourne.
Well, that's a big job for you, isn't it? Congratulations. You get paid well for that, wouldn't you?
Oh, no comment.
Hey, cover the New York entry.
New York entry well and truly covered with that kind of speaking gig.
Not quite. I think the idea is that you're doing this for your profile.
Oh, really? Because you should see some of the ones that come to school, like for our personal development days and stuff. We get speakers in.
Yeah,
it's cost an arm and a leg.
Well, you got to pay sportsmen, like to go, you have to pay a lot. I think it's about $200 or something. But the speakers don't get paid very well.
Oh, interesting. So you're going to talk about trends outside of shoes as well? Or you're just going to talk about trends in the footwear?
I'm there for the footwear. So I'm going to talk about like how we used to categorize shoes, now how shoes are categorized in the industry, and then different foams, how we fit shoes for experience, function, performance, therapy, and then talk about super shoes, because everyone's asking super shoes. Questions like the questions we get asked in the store, like what are they? Am I too slow to wear them? If I'm going to buy a pair of shoes, I'll just buy one of them. Don't need anything else. And then which one's right for me? So stuff like that. I'll chat about that.
Is this the organisation that like Tommy DeCano is the president of?
Nah, he works for, I think, Sports Podiatry Australia or something. This is Sports Medicine Australia, so this includes physios and not just podiatrists.
How long's a presentation go for?
30 minutes.
30
10 minutes. Yeah, not long.
Still a long time to hold the audience, I was thinking.
This man sells shoes, likes talking about shoes. 30 minutes ain't long enough.
Mate, I got 15 minutes for my bio first.
Will you get all sweaty and stuff up there, Moose? Will you get nervous beforehand? How many in the audience?
I'll probably do it in a singlet, so maybe like
do it with your shirt off.
I don't think there's that many. I think there might be 60 people or so.
Oh, 60. I thought
Bruce will
it was
get up
going to
there
be like 4,000 or something.
No, I'd want to be getting paid if I was doing it in front of 4,000.
Live shows are harder than that then.
Yeah.
Just go easy on the podiatrist gags, Moose. Don't offend anybody in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll just sputter them up a bit.
All right, we're done. Enjoy Sinead Diver, listeners. We'll do it all again next week. See you, boys.
See you guys.
Yeah.
This week's guest on the Inside Running podcast is the Australian marathon record holder, the Nike Melbourne marathon record holder, and she also finished 10th at the last Olympic Games back in 2021. She's gearing up for potentially her second marathon campaign in Paris later this year. Thanks to Nike Australia for making her available today. Sinead Diver, welcome back to the Inside Running podcast.
Thanks, Brady. How's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, good.
That's good to see you. Good to hear your voice again. How's your Monday going at the moment?
Pretty good. I am getting ready to go to Japan tomorrow for pacing in Nagoya.
Oh, Nagoya, yeah.
Yeah, so today just kind of packing up some stuff and got work and yeah, it's going good. It's a nice day in Melbourne.
Yeah, ticking all those things off before you travel. Have you been consuming the Japanese marathons the last 2 weekends with Osaka, last weekend and then Tokyo yesterday?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I had the tracker going for Osaka. I was following about, I'd say, nearly 10 of you. So many people tracking. And then yesterday in Tokyo as well. I couldn't get a good live stream, but yeah, they don't really show the women that much anyway on the Tokyo live stream. So I watched it for a bit and then not really after that.
It's a bit of a Japanese theme though, isn't it? I think Osaka was similar. Like Lisa hardly got any coverage over there. Like it's very much men dominated their streams, which must, I guess, annoy you.
Yeah, like I was watching Osaka and then even after the men's finished, I thought they'd go to the women's then. But they just started showing reruns and highlights of the men's race until the top 3 women crossed the line. They just showed them very briefly crossing and then that was it. So that was disappointing. But I mean, like the tracker is the main thing I was following anyway.
Yeah, paying attention to. And what's going in the suitcase? Like, are you preparing yourself? I'm not sure if you're looking that far ahead at the weather yet, but we kind of saw Osaka super cold. Tokyo looked pretty good yesterday. Like, you're
Oh,
packing
Tokyo
for
looks
both,
great.
both warm and cool.
Yeah, past 2 years in Nagoya, it's been warmer than usual, than expected, but it's actually looking pretty cold this week. I haven't looked in the last few days, but definitely bring in jacket and gloves. And it was kind of hovering around the 10 degrees, maybe a bit colder in the morning.
Yeah,
And then actually there was quite a bit of rain forecast, but that seems to be jumping around a bit.
yeah,
I'll check.
perfect.
Yeah.
And 25, 30K, how far are you going to go?
No, just to halfway. So
Okay.
initially I was going to pace the front pack of girls, which would be, there's a lot of Japanese girls trying to go for the third spot on the Olympic team, and they need, I think it's sub 2:18:50. So I think that they were going to go out at 2:18. So initially I was going to pace that, but then I got that niggle before Maragami, and I had 2 weeks off, and then kind of modified training since then. So I wouldn't be able to pace that. So I'm going to pace a slower group. I think the 2:25 group, hopefully no faster than that,
That
to
sounds all right, though.
halfway.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like it can be a fun trip over, get a decent kind of workout in.
Yeah.
Yeah, get back into the running scene. Because I guess you want to go into details about like the niggle and then you're back like training at 100% now.
No, not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. Yeah, like because it was so the scan showed like inflammation around the periosteum. So it's kind of next step is bone stress. And I remember I got the exact same thing last year, and then I went to Maragami and raced and got a stress fracture. And then I was out for pretty much 6 weeks.
Yeah, missed London.
Yeah, and then there's a slow build after that. Like it's 12 weeks really before you're back into solid training. Whereas this time I had 2 weeks off, and still very broken training, like doing a lot of stuff on the elliptical, not a lot of running outside, doing more running on the treadmill because there's less impact, and on an incline as well, which reduces the impact again. So yeah, hopefully I'll be fine. I'm going to training tomorrow at Waverley, and that'll definitely be a good tester. So if I blow up there, I might be in trouble. But
Yeah, are you a bit worried to like
yeah,
go
I
over?
am a
Yeah.
little. I'm a bit nervous. Um, I just need to make sure I can do it, because it's not just for me. It's I have to. I don't want to let down the girls that I'm pacing. So um, I think tomorrow will give me a good idea. I'll probably have like a solid like 8 by 1K, and I know where I should be at for that. And Nick will be there to watch me as well, and he won't let me pace if he doesn't think I can do it. So yeah, hopefully it'll be all right.
Okay. The suitcase is zipped up and not sure if you'll be taking it yet.
Uh,
Is there been any communication from like Athletics Australia about showing some race performances? Like your PB is an Australian record is so much quicker than the other girls, and you're in that number one spot with selection. But like, have they said like, hey, you've got to show us some kind of pacing job or some kind of result in this kind of first half of this year?
they haven't said it to me, but this is pretty much why I want to go to Nagoya,
Yeah,
because like I did do like Sydney, so that was the Australian champs,
yeah,
and Bernie 10K after that, and pretty much there was no races for me to do between then and Maragami, and I was honestly so fit in that period. I was like dying to race, so it was really unfortunate that I got a niggle just before Maragami, because that was my first opportunity to race since Bernie. um and they know that my training was going good and everything, and that I've had a niggle, and that's all just part of it. I don't think they're going to be like, oh well, now you have to prove that you can
yeah.
do
Ultimatum.
221 again.
Yeah.
Like I got the qualifying period, so it'd be very harsh to say, oh well, now you got a niggle, so unless you prove you're in top fitness, we're not going to pick you. I doubt they'd do that.
Yeah, and time's still very much on your side as well. Like, and if you're back rolling at a decent click now, it shows that you're heading in the right directions. Can you give us some? Because I heard some rumors that you and Charlotte were like super fit and doing some like amazing training sessions together.
Yeah.
Can you give us? Our listeners love the nitty gritty, the numbers on the workouts, those kind of things. Can you give us some like details of what some of the big workouts were you're putting out? Because she went and ran super well at Murakami, which must have been frustrating for you to see.
Not frustrating, like,
but you know what I mean. Like,
I was so disappointed that I couldn't have done it, because I would have run around a similar time.
Yeah.
And I knew I was definitely in PB shape. And then the Australian record, if I had a really good day, I was thinking in my head I could aim for that. So it was really hard to miss it. Like, so myself and Charlotte, what we were doing, initially we were just doing the typical training week and 2 laps of Albert Park Lake, which is just over 10k, and like each week we were running that about 3:17, 3:16 per k.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we started doing some marathon training just to mix it up a bit. So we started the 10 by k on, 10 by k off, and then 7 by 2k, and we were running those at, like, I would say there was some 3:10s.
Really?
3:10s to 3:15, and then like 6 by 3k, and we were flying. But I think I was pushing too hard, I guess, and that's probably why I ended up getting injured. But like, we were flying. So it's really, I wish I had pulled back, sooner or before I got. Because I literally felt that niggle just a few days before I was supposed to fly out. I was like, oh my God. Like, if I had just had a down week. But anyway, we were flying session.
Must have taken a lot of discipline to just be like, hey, because how many times you're in a similar situation in the past and you got a little, even some of that like phantom pain, in race week, and you just like, like to actually be, especially for an overseas trip, like it's a lot of organizing to then go, no, I'm not going because the long-term plan is more important here.
Yeah, well, I think the only reason, so normally, like, because you get niggles so often, like you can't stop every time you get a niggle, or you'd never get anywhere. But this niggle was so similar to what I had last year. I was like, this did not work out well for me last year. Like, I went and raced anyway and didn't race that well because it was like bone stress, and I just wasn't willing to have 6 weeks off. I just didn't want to have to face into that in an Olympic year, and then to have a slow build back up again. And even though I really wanted to race, like I was thinking, oh, maybe I should just go and race and then worry about this after. But that's exactly what I did last year. And it didn't turn out well. So I decided to be a bit smarter about it this year.
Yeah, learning. When, like, with your second Olympic campaign as well, like, what else have you changed going into Paris? Like, we know it's going to be hot, it's going to be hilly. Like, are you guys having conversations now about how you're best, like, especially with the success after Sapporo, Tokyo, and that top 10 finish? Like, do you make little tweaks to go second time around, or you just say, hey, worked for us last time, let's go again?
I would say we would probably do similar. I don't want to risk anything, but I mean, having said that, it is going to be hot and hilly. The hilly thing as well. Normally I don't do a lot of hill work, but I'm definitely going to focus on that for Paris, because there is like a large chunk of it in the middle that's going to be very challenging. So it'll be foolish not to, work on hill work this time. And I definitely want to go on a training camp where it's hot, but not too hot that I risk cooking myself either. Like, you still want to be able to get quality sessions done. So I have sat down with Nick very briefly to talk about this, but I think once the team has been named and he has more of an idea of, who will kind of go somewhere together, we'll make a plan. So we haven't put anything in place yet, other than I got some accommodation for Colin and the boys in Paris on Airbnb, because that is running out very quickly.
Could imagine, yeah.
Yeah, but we haven't like booked flights or a training camp or anything yet. It's all a bit wait and see, and you just want to be named, told you're definitely going before you kind of throw everything into it. All like by that I mean, like pay for flights and pay for accommodation, and because it's very expensive, so you just want to get confirmation that you're definitely going.
Yeah, seeing your name on that bit of paper in the announcements, those kind of things. When you're going back to when you just said the hill work, do you think you'll spend more time at like Fernie getting the hills in over the long runs, or will you start doing your marathon workouts like over hilly courses and stuff, or you mean like hill reps like through Wattle Park and stuff there?
I think Fernie on Sundays definitely, and probably marathon sessions over hilly, more undulating. So I'll have to find somewhere in Melbourne that will suit that. But
So
I don't think
Q Boulevard, that has rolling hills, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. Which I won't like at all. Like I love to go
hit
around
the numbers.
yeah. And like be happy with my K splits, but I'll just have to get over that.
Maybe it's a bit early too, but have you I guess set goals for Paris, or you just want to see your name on the start list first, and actually then you look at the field? It's like very hard to set a goal performance.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how people do that, like come out and say, oh, I want to get top 8 or top 5, or obviously I want to perform the best that I can. But it's very hard to put a position on that, or I'll definitely do everything I can to make sure I'm in the best shape possible. Similar to Tokyo, I was very careful with that and prepared for the heat, and made smart choices in training. So I'm going to do that again, and hopefully, and I know that I'll give it 100% on the day for sure. And yeah, hopefully I get rewarded for it.
And are you looking at, we saw the US trials happen a few weeks ago. It feels like nearly every weekend since last weekend another Australian has a go at trying to run the time. Are you becoming a fan of the sport and kind of watching with anticipation these results come in? I guess you kind of said about the tracker before. We know your good friend Ali Pashley was going around Osaka. It must be a surreal position to be in when you're at the top there and just kind of looking at not just Australia, but what other countries are doing and who you'll be potentially lining up against.
There's nothing more I love than a good marathon on a Sunday, sitting down and having the WhatsApp messages going and everyone firing comments back and forth. It's really exciting, and I love watching those races and tracking, people that I know and that I race against. Or yeah, it's really exciting. I love it. I could do that all day, just marathon after marathon after marathon.
And it's something about knock over your own Sunday long run and then get home and just find the tracker, find the stream. Yeah. It's just a great way. Yeah. Not sure how our partners, husbands, wives go in this situation when you already spend 2 hours yourself running and then you commit another 3 hours to watching running on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Hey, tell me about your shoe rotation at the moment. I'm not sure how many workouts you've done in the new Alphafly 3. I got to test it out over a marathon last week in Osaka and really enjoyed it, and been put plenty of Ks into it since it came into the country. But what have you been rolling? You've been doing many workouts in that?
Not yet. I've just done one so far. Only because they only really came out around the time that I got that niggle, so I haven't really had a chance to give them a good go. I really want to try them out in a marathon session rather than just a 10k. But I mean, I love the feel of them. They're so, as soon as you put them on, they feel super bouncy, don't they? And really light. And yeah, I can't wait to get stuck into a marathon session and try them out.
What, and they was your first impressions? Because when I put them on, I was just almost I didn't exactly feel like an Alphafly. It felt different to the ones and the twos, but then it felt I always felt it felt like an extension of the Vaporfly 3, somewhere in between. It was just better than the Vaporfly, but this Alphafly, that was all connected underneath. It just kind of I don't know. As you said, it was an interesting, like, wow kind of factor when you put your foot in it for the first time. But
Yeah.
I really found it hard to be like, I don't know where this actually sits. And because it's like the other versions are so good and the Vaporfly is so good as well, it's just like another kind of good, great shoe from Nike.
Yeah, like I remember initially when I put on the Alpha Flies, I was like, oh, I wasn't sure about them at all. And it took me ages to give them a go. Like I ended up wearing them at Valencia. But it always takes me quite a while to get used to a shoe or to trust it, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Alphafly 3, it does feel it's not as when you put it on, it's not as I guess different. Yeah, maybe it is more similar to the Vaporflies, which I have usually worn. Like in training, I've worn the Vaporflies a lot more than the Alphaflies, so maybe that's why I kind of thought, oh, I can't wait to try these. Like maybe it is just a good merge of the two for me.
Yeah. Well, I felt like that air pocket was always a bit separated in the ones and the twos. And like you could really like get on the forefoot of your foot and kind of hit that. Whereas now it's all connected together and it's just like
Yeah,
all of that. Yeah. This has come from someone who doesn't know a lot about shoes, but I just put them on and run in them. And that's just like, hey, this feels pretty cool like this. So
yeah. I'm
what
the
else is,
same though. I'll
yeah.
either put it on and I like it, or I won't like it. I don't know any of the technical specifications or anything. I'll either be oh, I love the shoe, or no, not for me.
Yeah.
So I
What else?
definitely think the Alphafly 3, and a lot of, I think more than any of the one of the two, people have seemed to really jump on board with it and really like it.
Yeah.
Whereas there was a lot of divided opinion about the other versions. So I can't wait to get stuck into some marathon sessions with them.
Oh, yeah. What else is in your rotation at the moment? Like, what are you jogging around Albert Park in?
So I love the Zoom flies. They've been a favorite of mine for years. So I will wear them most of the time, and then I wear Vimeros or Invincibles. Invincibles often for my second run. I find them really nice and soft.
Getting that extra sponginess. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Vimeros, if I was going to Fernie, I'd wear those. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much those. But the Zoom flies are my go-to shoe for pretty much everything.
They're like, aren't they like an in between jogging shoe and like racing shoe though? Like you could do workouts in them, like some tempo runs as well.
You could. I wouldn't though. No.
Yeah, because you're a sponsored Nike athlete and have your access to the
Yeah.
top ones. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's like an in between.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe there's again, like I don't even know the specifics. There might be a half a plate in it or something.
Yeah, well, maybe not a plate, but the foam. I don't know. You're asking the wrong
I'm
person
not
here.
sure. Yeah.
But I just know. I remember before the original, like, remember the 4%s?
Yeah.
The Zoom flies came out first. And I remember Moose got a really early pair of them, and he wore them at Albert Park 10K one year. And then that was before, yeah, the original 4%s came out, which then blew everyone's mind as like that first ever
Yeah.
super shoe.
Like I wore the Zoom flies for that half marathon in Valencia. And I remember
yeah, world champs, yeah.
when the April flies came out, or they were out and everyone was wearing them, and I was like, oh, there can't be that much difference. And there is though.
Yeah, there you go. You running them in a world championship, so they're
Yeah.
definitely okay for workouts. It shows how far we've come. That
Yeah,
it's
I
just
know.
like, nah, it's just a jogging shoe now.
Yeah.
That's good. Hey, when you're training, do you have any real? I know you said like 8x1K tomorrow down at Waverley Grass Track will give you a real good indication about where you're at. Then leading into Paris or leading into other marathons in the past, maybe Valencia when you set the Australian record. Do you have any like real go-to workouts that you're like, this is the one that's going to give me a real good indication about what's going to happen on race day?
Honestly, not any specific workout, but I can tell in those marathon sessions, like 5x4K, and then we have that big one that Nick gets us to do. It's like around 37K all up, and it's a mix of fast work and thresholds, and each of those sessions every week, if I can pretty much tell just how I feel if I'm going well or not. Like rather than because like every week conditions are different as well, but if I feel that I'm doing them at that comfortably hard feeling, then I know I'm going well. If I'm not over pushing, because sometimes you can hit the splits but you're working too hard, and I hate when I do that. I think I was probably doing that in January this year, trying to run 3:16s around Albert Park. It was probably more like racing rather than threshold work. So I think, yeah, all of an accumulation of all those marathon sessions really will give me an indication. Because I don't think any one workout, you can nail any one workout and still not be in great.
And go to race effort just for that one.
Yeah. It's really an accumulation over a few weeks.
Yeah. What stops you? Like, you're a very determined person. I'd never want to race you in a race because, like, I think once you get on the road, you get into workouts. Like, you can go to a whole different level, which you kind of just said, like, you want to stay away from that in training.
Yeah.
But what, like, is Collis on the bike or Nick or someone's just like, hey, Sinead, what are we doing this? Like, this isn't the day to be going 3:10s in a marathon pace workout. Like, because you know what I mean? Like, implementing that discipline to be like, this isn't the day, we kind of start risking stuff when we do that.
Yeah.
Because you'd tell your paces just to keep pushing, wouldn't you? And they'd just go, yeah, we're going.
Yeah, maybe I should tell them to do that because generally they know, like if Collis comes on the bike with us, he knows not to be chatting during the session.
Yeah.
Like, shut up, Collis. But Nick often will say after the session, he'd be like, why did you go that fast? What was the point of that? But then afterwards you're like, oh yeah, maybe not, but you feel all up and about because you're just after having a great session. Then you forget about it for the next week and you just go, you want to go as hard or, so it probably would be good to have someone on the bike saying, you need to rein it in, like pull it back.
Yeah. Get on the tire, I'm slowing it down.
Because no matter what I tell myself, when I'm in the session, I'll just keep push. Whereas if someone said to me, rein it in, I probably would, but I do need someone to tell me that. I think that's a good.
I only ask that question because 99% of our listeners do exactly the same thing, me included. It's just like, I am rolling today. Let's keep the foot down.
Yeah,
like,
you don't think about it till after, and then you go.
Yeah, until someone questions you, like you said, Nick does. It's like, why? Like, what was? Yeah. Objective of that today. Do you look further ahead? Like, is there anything locked in between Nagoya and Paris, like race-wise, or anything in the second half of the year that you can give us details on?
We've nothing planned yet because we have to figure out like will I be in Australia or will I be overseas, for a training camp. But I may be doing Gifu half marathon, which is 28th of April, and then there's the usual like Launceston and Gold Coast are the major road races, I guess. I wouldn't mind actually getting another few in, just to get a few more races in, but nothing locked in really yet. We just have to wait and see.
Maybe a potential big city marathon towards the back half of the year. Like, it must be a relief sometimes like you get Paris knocked over and then it's just like, now just give me a New York or a Chicago or a Valencia again, something like that. Surely
I would love to go back to Valencia, so I would definitely look at that. Like, because it's a perfect time really after Paris as well. There's enough time to relax for a bit, hopefully celebrate, have some downtime, and then like kick off another marathon campaign. And like, obviously I loved Valencia, and the last 2 years the weather has been so good there. That has to break at some point though. So hopefully not this year.
Because it was super windy, that World Half Marathon Champs, the one that you and Ali and Tom Buchanan did, wasn't it? Yeah. Similar course, yeah.
Yeah, it was almost like a different city. It's so funny to think. Like, we were there, that would have been March. And I remember us just sitting in the room and looking at the weather app, and it was like gusts of 80 kilometers an hour. I was like, oh my God. It was awful. But it did mean we got, for the last 5K, I think we had a tailwind. So everyone did really well for the last 5K, but it was such a battle up to that point.
Yeah. Oh, Sinead, it's always a pleasure. We thank you for giving up some time for the Inside Run podcast. Thank you to Nike Australia for making you available again. Good luck. I know there's a lot of listeners, a lot of fans of yours out there. You're one of the best personalities in Australian distance running. You can kind of see why after that conversation, and stay injury free. Can't wait to see how everything goes leading into Paris, and then over there.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We'll chat to you soon.
No worries. Thanks, Sinead.
This week's episode of Inside Running Podcast is proudly sponsored by Nike. Marking the next chapter of Nike's relentless focus on innovating for all runners, the new Nike Alphafly 3 delivers marathon speed to push beyond what you thought possible.
It's their lightest and most tested Alphafly ever, validated by elite marathoners and designed to help all athletes chase their personal best in the marathon, no matter their pace.